Has anyone met someone that was once famous, actor, musician, etc., but now works a regular job? Who was it?
Danny Lloyd, who played the kid in The Shining, was my biology professor when I was in community college. Great professor, super nice, doesn't like talking about his childhood acting.
From what I recall from interviews, he doesn't remember any of it and had no idea it was a horror film. I expect he is sick of people asking.
Yeah, that's basically the gist of it. He just wants to live a normal life. He's chilled out about being asked about it in recent years, but I never did back in the day out of respect. I can't imagine having fame of any magnitude thrown on you as a kid and not wanting it as an adult.
One of the creators of the Oregon Trail fixed our cable connection at our house in the late 1990s.
My oncologist used to be the drummer for The Offspring. Second person here. He must treat a lot of people.
Well, he has to keep them separated.
When I was a store manager for GameStop, I hired a guy from my hometown that was a former NFL player. He had retired due to injury, but was never a big name. He floated around the league playing for 4 teams in 6 seasons before the injury. He didn't need the money. He had been smart with his money in regards to investments and savings, and our hometown is pretty rural, poor. He just wanted to get out of his house and do something. He was a huge gamer, and he was honestly a great employee. He never asked for special treatment or anything. I still talk to him every now and then, even though we haven't worked together in almost 15 years.
The other lead kid from Weird Science, the one who isn't Anthony Michael Hall, was my medieval literature professor in college, Elon Mitchell Smith. I met him about 10 years ago. I told him about how, as a kid, I wanted all his outfits from Weird Science. He told me he did too, so he didn't return them after shooting wrapped. I think it's very cool when people leave Hollywood for civilian life. My 4th grade teacher was the bassist for Joan Jett. When she got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he was there. Weird seeing him on TV, LOL.
My small, leafy mid-Michigan liberal arts college had requirements in order to get a degree. I put the arts requirement off until my senior year and decided to take Intro to Theater. The professor turned out to be Jeff Daniels, who lived a half-hour away in Chelsea. His career was in a lull in the early 2000s, and the boredom was starting to get to him.
I'd be so starstruck to take a class from the guy who took the most important shit of my childhood.
The original drummer for The Offspring, James Lilja, was my wife's gynecological oncologist. He did everything he could, and for that, I'll forever be thankful. Edit, thank you all for the condolences and kind words. It means a lot. This feels like a safe space, so I'll add a bit of context. When she was diagnosed, she was 31, and I was 36, and we had a 1-year-old. Less than 2 years later, when our son was 3, she passed, despite trying everything imaginable. Dr. Lilja is who biopsied and then removed the tumor from her cervix. Then came the radiation and chemo, but unfortunately the damage was done. It was incredibly aggressive, and while not guaranteed, there would have been a much higher chance of survival had it been found earlier. So take a minute to remind the women in your life to schedule a pap smear. I think they call them pap tests now. I know it's a weird thing to bring up, but early detection is everything. Thanks for reading. I hope this helps someone.
I roomed in college with a kid who was the voice of Charlie Brown for many years. He works for the Department of Public Works in a small town now. Back when it was still a sweet little bar with great gumbo, Great Jones Cafe in NYC was my favorite spot to grab a bite and a beer and listen to a quality jukebox. Awesome bartender. Mark was always good for an interesting chat. After years of doing this, one day he says he's going to be out of town on tour with his band. Oh, what's your band called? Sonic Youth. Edit, correction for the record store nerds, it's Mark, with a K, Eyebold, better known as the bassist from Pavement. but toured with Sonic Youth in the 2000s.
The kid who played Charlie Bucket in the original Willy Wonka is a veterinarian in Lowville, New York, an extremely small town in nowhere, USA. He is pretty tired of talking about it.
He retired in 2023. He was a large animal vet, mostly cows and horses.
Owner of a local bike shop has an Olympic gold medal in cycling. Still does repairs on bikes or sells bikes.
Jeanette Goldstein, who played Vasquez in Aliens, and John Connor's adopted mom in Terminator 2, opened a bra store for plus-sized women called Jeanette Bras. The alphabet starts at D. I did a play with her in 2004. She is rad. If you've got a larger-than-average bust and live in LA, go to Jeanette Bras.
Dude at the phone store was putting a screen protector on my cell for me. His technique was immaculate. No bubbles. Damn, you're pretty good at that. Thanks, man. Get a lot of practice goofing around with him on the job. Ah, sounds like a pretty cool job. But it's nothing compared to my last job. Oh, word. What was that? I played for the San Diego Chargers. And now he's selling chargers. Full circle.
Good news is now he's working with LTE rather than CTE.
Former Olympic gold medal swimmer Beth Botsford used to bartend at the bar next door to my condo. She was a genuinely nice person. Outside of the big money sports, most Olympic athletes make relatively modest amounts of money from their sports careers. Lauren Tews, Julie from the Love Boat, worked the fancy cheese section at the Capitol Hill Broadway QFC, Seattle, when I used to live there. Very pleasant person. To clarify, I used to live in Seattle, not the fancy cheese section of the Capitol Hill Broadway QFC.
Too late. Secret's out. Fancy cheese section is so big you can squat there and nobody notices.
I went to school with Jake Lloyd, the child actor who played Anakin Skywalker. I'm not sure what he does now. Last I heard, he moved to the Carolinas and was having some mental health issues. People like to talk shit about him, but he was always kind to me. I think it was mostly just petty high school bullying type stuff.
That guy didn't deserve any of the Star Wars heat he got. A young kid cast in a high-profile franchise, and the fans, critics, etc. put the way too much of the plot, writing, and acting complaints on his shoulders. He was just kid.
My friend Kyra. She played Karen Cooper, the little girl in the basement in the original Night of the Living Dead. She went on to become an art teacher for many years. Now she sticks to doing the horror convention circuit. She's a phenomenal artist. She's also a wonderful human who rescues hard-to-home animals. I love her dearly.
Former San Diego Charger defensive end became our high school vice principal. Was a really personable guy despite his massive size. Was very physically intimidating. I'll forever be grateful to him. He stopped a couple incidents of me getting bullied by two specific jerks. Only saw one of them on campus once after the VP stepped in, and the jerk didn't even make eye contact with me. Don't know what was said or what happened. The two of them just basically disappeared almost. Anyways, thank you, Mr. Faison, and RIP.